AITAH for finally letting my children go as a Mother's Day gift to myself. Ex-husband and his wife have been relentlessly pursuing me with smear campaigns for over a decade. They targeted my relationship that I had moved on with, and eventually were successful. They broke up my second family. They targeted my mother, and my mother went along with them because she's always been that way anyway. They also have relentlessly pursued what I would call ownership of our children. And after about 14 years I am just totally done. Literally there was a period of time where I couldn't even post on social media without being doxxed, swatted, bullied, you name it. In all honesty, they'll probably be reading this post as well. This weekend specifically, my adult kids were so awful to me, claiming to come visit for Mother's Day yet. They showed up and said they'd be leaving in a few to go to dinner with their father and stepmom, and maybe might come back after. I had freed up a massive amount of time to be able to spend the evening with them, and their little brother did as well. They all expected me to dote on the 15 minutes they were allotting me, put on whatever they wanted on the TV, and basically didn't even acknowledge me in my own house. I was very upset and started crying. Immediately they began saying that's why they don't want to be around me. I yelled, I don't want children that don't ever want to be around me. So the adult children left. And took my actual child with them. I called my daughter and demanded she bring my child back to me. Did she apologize? No. She goes, are you going to press charges? I said no, and I loved her, but it's a felony to take someone's child. They said they'd go to breakfast with me the following morning, and guess what? They didn't. Trying to get together for the breakfast was just as much of a disaster, and my son was just as rude as the previous visit. On the phone, expecting to be taken out to breakfast. I grabbed the phone and he got out of the car. I let him leave. I texted the two of them that basically I'd be removing them as my POA and as beneficiaries of anything having to do with me, and finally was going to change my last name back and let them just be free of me. My youngest and I went in and had breakfast peacefully. I love them, but I can't be abused anymore for literally existing as someone previously married to their father. Update: based on the hard lurks of my post history, I have decided that /r is the AH. Most of the hard lurks came to a complete wrong conclusion. For example, I have never had my kids taken nor been charged with any crime and have never had a drug problem. I drive a Honda. Update continue: I have also decided that I am indeed the AH. Not because, according to Reddit, I'm a BPD crazy manipulative trans-hating lunatic, but because I have been really digging deep and realized I crossed the line of wanting to be so completely separated from my ex that I don't even believe he exists anymore, and let it affect the way I see my adult children. No, my children don't deserve that, and every time I think I've moved on, and have long periods where I don't react this way, it just keeps popping up. This was done to me as a child as well, and still happens to me occasionally regarding the mistakes of my own father. I will work harder at healing this. First reply. This is all over the place. Third reply. How did your ex smear you? How did they break up your second family? What did they tell your mother that she believed? These are important details for a judgment. Second reply. No judgment, there's just too much information missing. What caused the divorce? Was ex-husband's current wife around before the divorce? Or one of your cheating? Your kids are a bit old to be manipulated this easily. I just feel there's something else you're not telling us. Fifth reply. Info: how and when did your husband meet his wife, and when did you move on? How were they able to ruin your second family? What started this treatment from your children and why? Why didn't you call the police on your daughter for kidnapping your kid? Fourth reply. Info: this is suspicious. Adult children barely visit. They do come visit but don't want to stay long. When they leave they take your actual child, I assume you mean your minor child, with them. Why? Your own mother has taken their side. They dox you. How do they do that? What has been said about you by their father's family? There is a suspicious lack of detail explaining all this awfulness other than they are just awful terrible people who hate me for no reason. Before I say NTA, I'm going to need more details.